In association with Philips presents Dire Straits, Thank You Australasia.
Welcome to viewers across Australia and New Zealand. Tonight's concert at the Sydney Entertainment Centre is certainly going to be a major event. It is the final concert of an extraordinary world tour by one of the world's hottest bands, Dire Straits. Over the past 12 months, they have toured 25 countries and have performed to an amazing 260 sell-out concerts. In Australia and New Zealand alone, they have performed to over 1 million people. Tonight, through the facilities of the 9 network in Australia and on TV1 network throughout New Zealand, millions more will be able to witness this brilliant, and I mean brilliant, band in concert in a live-to-air link-up on over 150 stations. The music of Dire Straits covers all ages from 6 to 60, and since the release of their first album in 1978, which was simply titled Dire Straits, their music has been heard on almost every radio station in the Western world, and even, I might add, in many radio stations in the Eastern Bloc and the Third World countries. Their smash hit, Sultans of Swing, made them a household name worldwide. Since then, they have produced 5 albums. Their latest, Brothers in Arms, which was released about a year ago, shot to #1 nationally the first week of release on the Australian album charts. It has remained there and remained for about 32 weeks, and that's the longest any album has ever stayed on the #1 position in the history of Australia's charts. Brothers in Arms has sold worldwide over 12 million copies, and believe me, that is some feat. Dire Straits is a class band with some of the best musicians in the world, and their influences covering a broad spectrum of music from contemporary rock to classical. So to all of you Australians and New Zealanders, again, welcome. And let me remind you, after this concert and during this concert is a simulcast wherever possible through your local FM or AM stereo station. And I strongly suggest that you do yourself a favour and tune in, turn up for this great musical experience. Right now, I'm leaving to go backstage to talk to Mark Knopfler just prior to introducing this fantastic band live in concert for their final performance of the World Tour. It's going to be a Dire Straits concert tonight that you've never seen before. We'll be right back after this commercial break. We'll see you then. Hey. After a very nervous intro, I'm now in the dressing rooms of Dire Straits, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce Mark Knopfler. Mark, welcome to tonight. Who's the joker sitting next to you, incidentally?
I don't know.
I've seen him hanging around the Seaboard for some... Excuse me? No. Ed, the manager of Dire Straits.
Hello.
Had to get in first.
That's who you are.
That's who you are.
Hello.
Yes.
Nice to meet you at last.
All right, now listen, down to the serious side. How do you and the band feel?
We're such jokers.
No, how do you feel that it's the last concert of this world tour? It's really come to an end.
Well, I think it's mixed feelings all around. You know, the road crew have been coming in like old retainers, you know, leaving. They've been with you for a long time. Right. It's like, it's very weird because, I mean, everybody, you're very conscious of the fact there's a lot of guys that have been putting all their talents and their abilities together to make something work for everybody, and they've done a really great job for us, for the band.
Well, I mean, as a dole.
Well,
no, they're not.
But as I said, it's spanned 25 countries in the last year and 260 concerts. When you first put this tour together and thinking of doing a world tour, did you imagine it to be this big?
No.
And to go for so long?
No. I think it was originally about 6 months,
right,
and it just grew.
I mean, like when you were telling me just before you were coming out here in LA, you said I've planned 6 or 7 concerts at the Entertainment Centre in Sydney. It turned out to be 20. I think it was about 7 in Melbourne. It turned out to be, what, 13? It just seemed to go on and on. I mean, did ever get to a stage, just even in this part of the Australasian tour in New Zealand and Australia, that it'd be another day and you'd think, my God, I've got to go and play again tonight? Did the band yourselves ever feel jaded, stay?
Yeah, I think if you're doing a long stretch in one place, like 20 nights here in Sydney, you know, you get the feeling that you should have a clocking in machine. You should just be coming after a while. Right. And you have to do certain things to try and break the monotony. And we've managed to do that all right, I think. And I think the band's been playing better all the time as well, which is very, very surprising all around. that the standards have been we've been able to maintain standards all the way through and find new things in the music all the time. The other thing is that I'm very proud of the band and the crew for getting the whole thing sorted out, is the fact that there's a lot of fans there that come in to see the band who aren't necessarily a rock and roll, the fans that we used to having just a seething mass of real rock and roll fans in there. There's a lot of other people coming in that, I mean, for want of a better word, you could kind of call them the tourists. Bit. They're just curious, that sort of, I'll go and have a look at this, I must see what all the fuss is about. And it's nice to turn them onto it, turn them around during the course of a night.
Well, also with the bands, I mean, a lot of bands sort of say, like, after spending so much time in a recording studio, and then they have to go out on the road, that it becomes a strain on the band because the members are seeing each other every day. I mean, has there ever been any sort of strain on this band?
Well, we're very hot on the fact that your feet haven't got to smell on the bus, and
right.
You know, that you keep your what do you make of faces
for yourself.
No,
we're very it's kind of like a marriage, I guess, in a way.
It's funny, just before you came in, I was
give and take, you know.
I was saying that there hasn't been a single fight or even major disagreement between anybody within the crew or within the band.
Right, now, I won't ask you this, I'll ask Ed. Normally the band don't like doing television, and now you're doing like an entire live performance. What motivated you to do that?
Well, one of the reasons it's live, and
Right.
most television isn't live. And I think that, you know, that process of, you know, the pop TV show where you're miming is boring. But it's nice to be able to thank the people in Australia and New Zealand for the
too,
tour,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
It's really that, and it's also for the drug offence campaign.
Right, like one criticism, if there's been any criticism of the show, and it's a criticism that was also leveled at the Sting show, is that both you and Sting don't talk that much on stage. What's your thoughts on that?
Do you know, I haven't really thought that much about it. Sometimes I've been known to. Sometimes, you know, I haven't really thought.
Whereas other
that
people
much
say, why
about
should
it.
they talk on stage? Their music speaks for itself.
Well, you said it.
Well, I've said it, yeah.
That was a question of performance style, I
Right.
think.
All right.
The thing is, you want the thing to flow a bit. You don't want to keep breaking it up with or too much of this.
Well, listen, we've got 12,000 people out there ready to fire into action as soon as you walk out on stage. We've got millions of viewers in Australia and New Zealand ready to watch this, a very important telecast, simulcast. Just one last question. It's a very important concert because some of this money of tonight is going to a great cause.
All of it?
Well, all of it is going to such a great cause. Whose idea was that? Collectively, the band?
Yes, I mean, we were made aware when we came to Australia about the drug problem here, and the fact that this campaign was about to start. And it's seen. I mean, Australia's given, and New Zealand have given a lot to us.
Wow.
So it's nice to be able to give something back.
Well,
And I hope the campaign
that'll
works.
be explained throughout the telecast. I only hold you up to all the boys. Have a great night, and Mark, have a great night, and thank you very much for coming. And for you,
Molly, it's always been a thrill.
same here, mate.
All right, cheers.
We'll be back in a moment.
across the river, deep and wide. Oh, right across the river, to the other side. A soldier of fortune, and we dug a wall. We don't give a damn who the killing is for, no, no. It's the same old story with a different name. Death or glory, it's a killing game. Right across the river, deep and wide. Yeah, right across the river, to the other side. Nothing gonna stop them as the day follow the night. The right become wrong, the left become the right. Then they sing as they march with the flags unfurled. Today in the mountains, tomorrow the wild. Right across the river, deep and wide. Yeah, right across the river, to the other side. Right across the river, deep and wide. Right across the river, to the other side. she come out in the nighttime with the honeysuckle moss. Oh, and it smells just like a rose. Yeah, it tastes like a peach now. She got me walking where the wildlife goes. I do anything to reach her. She was made in heaven. Heaven's in my world. She was made in heaven. Yeah, heaven's in my world. Just to express love. I'm crazy for this girl. I'm crazy for girl. Yeah, she called me just to talk. She my lover, she's a friend of mine. She's saying, hey, nothing. You wanna take a walk out in the Wild West land? Sometime I get the trouble with breathing. She says, well, boys, they don't know anything. I know what I want to teach them. Yeah, think I just won't live anything. She was made in heaven. Heaven's in my world. She was made in heaven. Oh, heaven's in my world. Just to express love. I'm crazy for this girl. I'm crazy for her. Feels so good cause it feels so good. Feels so good cause it feels so right. I was made to go with this girl just like a saxophone. Was made to go with it now. Surrender to the will of the night. When she loved me so tender, I gotta believe her. You talk about love, spread so love, that's alright. She was made in heaven. Heaven's in my world. She was made in heaven. Yeah, heaven's in my world. Just to express love. 'Cause I'm crazy for this. Crazy for good. Judge, sing, hey maestro, on it express on it. Sing, hey maestro, on it express. Oh, I want another one. Shut the other one. Want another one. Shut the other one. Sing it, hey maestro. On it like a rabies foam and got the fleas. Everyone concerned about industrial disease. Panic on the switchboard, tongues in knots. Some come out in sympathy and some come out in spots. Some do the management, some the employee. Everybody knows the same industrial disease. Oh, panic. Disgusted, downs, tools, walks. Innocence is injured, experience just talks. Everyone sits down and everyone agrees. These are classic symptoms of your monetary squeeze. IT rate, baby sing, talk about the curse. Philosophy useless, theology worse. History was over, there's an economics read. Sociologists invent word. Main industrial. Declared, I am not surprised to see you here. You got smokers caught from smoking, brewers stripped from drinking beer. Don't know how you came to get those knees, but worst of all, young man, you've got industrial disease. You won't be a prescription, he said. You're just depressed. I'm glad you came to see me. Get this off your chest. Come back and see me later. Next patient, please. Sitting under the victim of industrial disease. Speakers corner sucks. They got the free speech and the tourists, the police in the trucks. Too many say they're Jesus, one of them's gonna be wrong. He's a protest singer, he's singing these protest songs. He said, they wanna have a war, keep you on your knees. They wanna have a war, keep their factories. They wanna have a war to stop buying Japanese. They wanna have a war to stop industrial disease. They're pointing out an enemy, keep you deaf and blind. Wanna sap your energy, incarcerate your mind. They give you group, Britannia, gassy beer, pastry. 2 weeks in Hispania, Sunday strip for teas. Meanwhile, as Jesus says, I cure it soon. I'd abolish Monday mornings, Friday afternoons. The other ones out on hunger strike, but dying by degree. Maybe even Jesus gets industrial disease. Hello out there in, all the way across the country in New Zealand too. Hello out in TV land.
Set. Is all this stuff working? Unbelievable.
again and there's a meaning. You're so far away from me. Where are you when the sun goes down? You're so far away from me. Everybody's singing. So far away from me. Yeah, so far I just can't see. So far away from me. You're so far.
That's very nice, very nice.
Gotta be in love and great all alone. And you're so far away from me. Making out on the telephone. 'Cause you're so far away from me. Alright. So far away from me. So far, I just can't see. So far away from me. You're so far. city town. You're so far away from me. Get me up and yeah, you never let me down. You're so far away from me. So far away from me. So far I just can't see. You're so far away from me. You're so far away. So far away from me. so far away. See, it's so far away. So you love to struggle, Romeo. It's got your sweet sympathy. There ain't everybody alone with a love song hanging made. He finds that sweet life. He steps out of the shade. He says something like, "You and me, babe, how about it?" Juliet says, "Well, well, well, it's Romeo. You nearly give me a heart attack." He's underneath the window, she's singing, "Hey there, my boyfriend's back. You shouldn't come around here singing up with people like that. Anyway, what you gonna do about it?" Juliet, the dice was loaded from the start, and I bet, and you exploded in my heart, and I forget a movie song. When you gonna realize it was just that the time was wrong, Juliet. So we come up on different streets, they both were streets of shame. Both dirty, both mean. You said the dream was just the same. I dreamed your dream for you, so now your dream is real. How can you look at me as if I'm just another one of your deals? When you can fall for chains of silver, you can fall for chains of gold. You can fall for pretty strangers and the promises they hold. You promised me everything, yeah, you promised me thick and thin, yeah. Now you just say I love you. You know I used to have a scene with you. Juliet, when we made love, you used to cry. You said I love you like the stars above. I love you till I die. And there's a place for us, yeah, on the movie song. So when you gonna realize it was just that the time was wrong, Juliet. Now don't do the talk, no, like they talk on the TV. I can't do a love song like the way it's meant to be. I can't do everything, but I'll do anything for you. I can't do anything except be in love with you. All I do is miss you, where we used to be. All I do is keep the beat, the rock and roll company. And all I do is kiss you to the bars of Orion. Julie, I do the stars with you, babe. Anytime. Juliet, when we made love, you used to cry. You said I love you like the stars above. You said I love you till I die. And there's a place for us. You know the movie song. So when you're gonna realize it was just at the time was wrong, Juliet. What a sin. Finds that street light, oh, he steps out of the shade, he says, you and me, babe, how about it? hellbound. a mystery to me. The game commences for the usual fee, plus expenses, confidential information. It's in the diary. This is my investigation. It's not a public inquiry. Checking out a report, I'm digging up the dirt. Now you get to meet all souls in this line of work. Treachery and treason, there's always an excuse for it. And when I find a reason, I can't get used to it. So what have we got? At the end of the day, what have you got? You can take away in a bottle of whiskey, and you say alive, and the blinds on the window, and the pain behind the eyes. Scarred for life, no compensation. Private investigation. cry and make it sing. And an old guitar is all he can afford. When he gets up with them colored lights, gonna play that thing. And he doesn't mind if it doesn't make that fancy scene. Got a daytime job, he's doing quite alright, thank you very much. Do the honky tonk just like anything. Save it up for a Friday night. With the Sultans, with the Sultans of Swing. They're just fooling around in the corner. Suppose their baggies in the best King's Roll. They don't give a damn about another trumpet playing band. It ain't what they call it a rock. But the Sultans, we're the Sultans of Lake Creole. Right up to the microphone. Says at last, as the time bell ring. Thanking you at night, now it's time to go home. Make it fast with one more thing. We are the Sultans. Yeah, we are the Sultans of Swing.
remember that Plato banned poets from his ideal society, his republic. The rhapsodists, as they were called, sang their songs and played their lyres and drove the crowds, said Plato, out of their minds. What we would like to do is to have an hour that I hope will have Plato turning in his grave. And to do this, may I extend a very, very warm welcome to the great songwriter and musician, rhapsodist even, Mark Knopfler. Mark about his background, to put him in a sort of context for us, where you came from, your family, what were the influences on you?
Well, Listen with Mother was very important to me. I remember we were in Glasgow, in Scotland, because my dad had taken a job up there to work for the county council as an architect. He wanted to work in public counselling as a young guy. And I remember crawling around on the floor and hearing the songs that were on Listen with Mother. And it was a tremendous selection, all except for The Laughing Policeman, which I've never been able to enjoy for some time.
And your father's Hungarian?
Yes, so Dad was from Hungary. He was a refugee. He made it here in 1939 and tried to join the army, and they wouldn't let him because he was an alien. So he ended up as a lumberjack in the Lake District of all places for the war effort. And
so you were living in Glasgow?
Yeah, we were in Glasgow, and when I was little, we moved to Newcastle because my mum was a Geordie girl from Newcastle, and so my mum's side of the family are Geordies. And although we do have relatives north of the border as well, there are a lot of connections between Scotland and the northeast. A lot of Scots people came down to work in the shipyards and so on and so forth. So yes, there's always been this sympathy between Geordies and Scots.
And did you have a happy childhood?
It was a great childhood, yeah. I think it was a great time. Playing, you could play in the street and do all of those things, yeah. And so probably the first music that I heard was Scottish country dance music with Jimmy Shand, and probably the first time I heard people singing together it would be Scotland the Brave at school.
So you were at school and you're good at acting. Tell us about the...
Well, when I was a kid, you know, I was interested in the theatre, right? And I still like going to the theatre. I have to take my mum to the theatre every now and again, and my mum loves the theatre still. And Kitty and I take her to the theatre once every couple of months. But I don't know why I stopped. I think that's one of the reasons I stopped, I think, was I didn't have to do it. You know, that's one reason. And I think you have to do what you have to do in life. It's not just a question of what you can do. So I didn't want to do it badly enough. That's one thing. Another thing was when we got to Newcastle, because we moved to Newcastle when I was 8, I got into a production of a National Youth Theatre production of it was a modern dress of Julius Caesar, and it was at Sunderland. I had to get trained down to Sunderland every day. I got 2 or 3 weeks off school to do it. All the rehearsals, fantastic. And but when we got there, we realised that all the parts had gone to drama students from London, from RADA and Central School, and the Geordies were the spear carriers and the mob. So I know you're going to say nothing much has changed.
I didn't dare say that because half the audience will keep Newcastle.
I've got to introduce my very good friend and co-producer is Guy Fletcher. I know some of you remember. Yes, so Guy's been with me ever ever since the Cal soundtrack, when he appeared at the door of the little muse house where I lived at the time, and he arrived outside my door with a keyboard under his arm, looking for a job. Yeah, and he stayed employed ever since. Yeah, so I mean, I suppose we're supposed to play and talk about music. So now I can't remember what should be first. But something to do with something to do with childhood. That would be an idea. Because the first Scotland Road. Thank you very much, Matthew. I'd love to play that. You know, Lonnie Donegan was the first British rock star, and when I was 6 years old, I loved her. I remember saying, 6 or 7, I remember saying to my mum, I want a Lonnie Donegan record. So I got a Lonnie Donegan EP, and Hang Down Your Head, and Tom Dooley, and things like that. And a Lonnie Donegan EP is actually still on my mantelpiece. And I got to know Lonnie because he turned out to be a fan, which was great. He was into what I was doing, and I got to play with him at the Marquee Club one night, and it was just really good fun. And actually, when Lonnie passed away, he came round to our house shortly before he died, and he sang to her little daughter Isabella when she was just a baby, and he sang to her in the kitchen, which was great. Just held her and sang to her, and I always remember that. And when Lonnie passed away, I wrote a song called Donegan's Gone, and did it at the Albert Hall with Joe Brown, who was another great British rock star, still is really. Joe's, although he's not so much rock, he's more on a roots thing now. But Joe Brown, great man too, and I saw Joe Brown at Newcastle City Hall also. But I'm playing this like in a country blues style, really, which became part of my musical education later. Really, because Lonnie got hold of these recordings. Library of Congress recordings. He was doing all these blues records, and so I did it in that style for Lonnie. Got the whistle there. Donegan's gone, Lonnie Donegan, Donegan's gone. Gone, Lonnie Donegan, Donegan gone. Play that big grand cootie down, nobody loved like an Irish man gone. Lonnie Donegan, Donegan's gone. Donegan's gone, Lonnie Donegan, Donegan's gone. Gone, Lonnie Donegan, Donegan. Stagger weekend and gambling man, nobody loved like an Irish man gone. Lonnie Donegan, Donegan gone. Donegan's gone, Lonnie Donegan, Donegan. Gone, Lonnie Donegan, Donegan, gone. Time just goes on rolling by, Lord, I feel like I could cry. No, Lonnie Donegan, Donegan. Yeah, Lonnie Donegan, Donegan's gone. Oh, gone, Lonnie Donegan, Donegan's gone. neither did I.
Before we leave
School.
school childhood, you haven't mentioned Uncle Kingsley.
Oh, right. Yes, my Uncle Kingsley in Newcastle, my Uncle Kingsley was a very happy young guy, and he had a harmonica and he had a banjo, and he played boogie-woogie piano. And when I was a little guy, I can't remember how old I was. I remember thinking I'm 4. I think I remember thinking I'm 4. And this is for me, because he played this boogie-woogie. I'm not going to knock anything over, I don't think, but just something like this. No, guys, you stay where you are, because we've got to have. It's got to be done properly. But have you got? Is this? It was. If you do it was like this. It was like cosmic, just like the blocks of logic just absolutely crashing into place, and in fact, I think pretty much all music's based on that. I mean, there are of course lots of variations, but it's been downhill ever since. And the other thing that I wanted to say was that it takes me an awful long time to do most things. I've got reasonable coordination. I can ride a motorcycle and I can drive a car, and that's about where it. And in fact, if I've got something to do in the studio or something, in my watch and I can't fit, I'll say, Guy, how do I get the? You'll say, Guy always says 3 words, and he knows what they are. They give it here. So this song, when I was about 11 or 12 at grammar school, we had a games teacher we were terrified of, called McIntyre, who was an ex-Scots commander, and he did it the army way, which was to terrorise the new ones and to slipper them. Kids can't believe it today, but you used to have to approach him, take your little gym shoe off and touch your toes. And depending on the severity of the offence would depend on the severity of the whack that you got. And he was in a particularly bad mood around Christmas time because the school Christmas party was looming, and instead of giving us rugby out on a freezing cold muddy field, he was teaching us waltzing in the gym. We would sit out there, with our little. He'd tell us, he'd bawl. His voice was amplified massively in the gym. If I have to find a space in the gym and stand there by ourselves, just with our shorts on and bare feet, and he would say, it's there, and it's there, and it's there. And to this day, my ballroom dancing is severely challenged. The school Christmas party is coming. We ain't doing rugby no more. McIntyre's teaching us waltzing out on the gymnasium floor, out on the gymnasium floor. McIntyre's out of the army. You'll be slippered if you get it wrong. And McIntyre's din booms loud in the gym. We've only got a little short song. We've only got a little short song. And it's 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, we're all a disgrace. McIntyre tore us apart, and we danced by ourselves when we'd all found a space, waltzing with fear in our hearts, waltzing with fear in our Comes the day of the final maneuvers, all of our heads are awhirl. It's getting much closer to D-Day. This time we're gonna do it with girls. This time we're gonna do it with girls. In the arena, the ladies were waiting, 12-year-old partner to guide. Some matches were fixed, the rest of us mixed, and a fat girl got a lift at the side. Fat girl got a lift at the side. And it's 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, we're all a disgrace. McIntyre tore us apart, and we danced with ourselves when we'd all found a space, waltzing with fear in our hearts, waltzing with fear in our hearts. When you come to my fights and I'm under the lights, and you see that my footwork is false, don't count me out at the start of the bell. I'm just doing the secondary one, doing the secondary one.
University and read English and graduated and taught English, and during that period started his first band, Cafe Racers. But I think it would be really interesting to know when you and the guitar got together and how this first band started.
Well, yeah, it's, I mean, that's there was a wrong roundabout way, and it takes a lot of playing and a lot of bands and a lot of years of this and that and everything, Matthew. It's a huge amount of stuff, but what I really coveted as a teenager was one of these. There was a called the Fender Stratocaster, and they started building them in 1954, and which is pretty futuristic when you think of it. It's quite a primal kind of an object, you know. But I was so desperate for one, and I pestered my dad. Way beyond poor old dad, so all he could afford in the end was a £50 version, you know. Oh, these things cost 160 quid back then, or something like that. It was a hell of a lot of money, you know. But anyway, he got me a copy, well, a type of one, you know, which I think I slept with on the first date.
And your dad was very keen to encourage you as a musician.
Well, he never, bless him, he never stood in my way. I think they always rather wanted I'd play the violin or the piano, but this was what I wanted to do. And it was actually useful. I started with a tennis racket this way, and then my sister said, "No, you can't play that because I'm left-handed." And she turned the tennis racket back round, and learning with the fiddle, it means that, you know, your left hand wants to go that way, like that. So it's quite natural to me. But boys used to make these in the woodwork room at school, and I used to be so in love with them. I used to with the guitars, not the boys. I used to go down to the woodwork room and used to watch them making these things, and just so that I could maybe get a chance to hold the body even. And that's how badly you've got to want something. It's important that you find that thing in your life that you really love. And anyway, I stuck out the guitar. And the old guy in the shop said, stick at it when we were walking out. And I did. You've just got to try to make your hands go in different places. And I started off playing with a plectrum, with a bit of plastic. And I still use it, and I still love it. I still use it for strumming and doing all sorts of things. It's actually a lot better than fingers. But because I didn't have an amplifier, I didn't have the nerve to ask my dad for an amplifier because he spent 50 quid on the guitar. So I plugged it into the radio and had 1.5 watts of pulsing and I blew it up but I persevered, and I borrowed friends' acoustic guitars, and I learned to fingerpick because the sister of my pal, who was the other Everly brother in our lives, you know, his big sister wanted to sing in folk clubs, so we started accompanying in folk clubs, and I started to then folk singer taught me how to fingerpick. And fingerpicking is, you know, you begin usually doing sort of one to the bar, like well, you've got 6 strings and your thumb takes the bottom 3 essentially, and your fingers are supposed to take the top 3. That's kind of how it works. And then after a while, you learn to do this. What's important is learning to do 4 beats to the bar with your thumb instead of 1. Instead of puff, the magic, dragging. What you got to do is see if you can get it going 4 to the bar, like. So that's just the thumb, and then the fingers the fingers are supposed to sort of jump into the little spaces in between. That's where it gets tricky. This was me at the end of my teens, learning how to fingerpick, and then eventually you do learn to fingerpick, and even to pick out tunes, and so on. So you're picking tunes, and then as I became later into my teens, you know, I got a little better at that. And when I got to Leeds to be a reporter on the local paper before I actually went to university there, and I met up with Steve Phillips, who was a blues singer and a player, and he played one of these beautiful silver guitars, these Nationals, and I started my love affair with these. But really, with fingerpicking, it develops. You get a little better at it as time goes on, and you start essentially what it is really, you start to realise that what they were doing, the great players were doing, they were imitating the stride piano of the time. You know, and it's there's music and accompaniment going on. So we played ragtime, we did country blues music for years and years and years, and that was Cafe Race. No, this was this was still playing that, and then a bit later on, when I got down teaching, I got down into London. A teacher who I was working with, and we formed a little rock and roll R&B and the rockabilly band, the Cafe Races. There were only 3 musicians, a guitar, bass, and drums, and a singer. But again, it's pretty good. So, and you know, I've been playing with a girl at school, teaching her to fingerpick when I was back in grammar school. So we did harmonies together. So that was 2 of us, and then I learned to play with a group of 3 people, and then later on 4, and then you get a pianist in, and you go, wow, that's really changed everything. And then 2 people, it gets worse after that. But what you do is you become a sort of you become a half-baked arranger. You become an amateur arranger just by turning up.
So could we move on to Dire Straits?
Yeah.
Started in...
I'm very bad on dates, but I think it was about 77.
Okay. And when we talked about you as a lyricist, you were saying, which I thought was really fascinating, that in your creative life, there's a very, very close connection between geography, books, and songwriting.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, I might get a song from a scrap of newspaper, and I might get a song from something somebody says. I might get a song from a bucket of tar, and I could get a song from anything. But quite a few have come from books.
Sorry to interrupt. What sort of song have you got from bucket of tar?
Nothing. But now that you've mentioned it, Leslie, I'm going to have to think about it. Yes, sometimes they're books, and
so Telegraph Road.
Yes, I mean, just songs like that where sometimes a book that I'm reading will collide with where I happen to be, and there have been a few songs like that. Telegraph Road was one I was reading. Growth of the Soil by Nutt Hampson, and I happened to be on this Telegraph Road outside of Detroit. It was a big, long road, and I started thinking about how it had begun, and because that particular book was about the beginning of the civilization, I would start thinking of that Crumb cartoon, you know, where there's just this Arcadia, and then it builds up into Dunkin' Donuts and Texaco and stuff. Yeah. And the modern urban scene.
But when a book sort of gets you to think of a lyric, is it while you're reading it or a month later? Because you have also got quite a reputation with yourself for writing a lyric and then a number of years later.
Yeah, well, that secondary waltz thing, I mean, this is slow, right? I wrote that about 40 years ago, and it's only just now the tunes come along and said, well, okay, it's about time you did this. You know, that thing that I just played? And, I mean, this is slow. I'll give you, I can't remember when John Lennon was murdered, I think it was about 82. I could be wrong. 82. Okay, well, I wrote a song at the time. We were playing in Germany, and we got to Germany, and it had just happened, and there was a very creepy autograph hunter there who was in spectacles and a raincoat, and he was waiting for us at the airport. He was at the hotel. He was everywhere. He was a very strange-looking boy man, and his name was Rudiger. And the name stuck with me, and he stuck with me, like a limpet. He would be at the hall, you know, he'd be waiting. Hello, Mr. Knopfler, and he was, I don't know. And I said to him after a few days, and he was there with an autograph friend of his, I said, you'd want Saddam Hussein's autograph. And his friend said, what's wrong with that? And it was starting to get to me. So anyway, I wrote this song called Rudiger. He struck me as a very sad character. But now, the point is I wrote the song, and then the music didn't come along till, the right music, it didn't come along till 1996. So my maths ain't great, but it's a few years. Stands in the rain and the snow, collector of autographs, pictures of photographs, faces of people who everyone knows. Rudiger lives in a place on his own, briefcase and spectacles, strange and respectable,
He knows the feeling of being alone. Oh, Rudy girl, Rudy girl, Rudy, oh Rudy girl. And so on. And so he was just
Have you any idea why there's this sometimes very long gap between the lyrics and the music, and what might have sparked you off in 1996 to say, I wrote that in 82, here comes the music? Or is
Well, it's a good question, Matthew. I wish I knew the answer. I think it's got something to do sometimes with a circumstance you find yourself in. I was working with some very good musicians, and I'd been starting to write at that point with for string bass as well, you know. And I think it was just part of the musical expansion that was happening at the time for me, and a feeling of freedom that the song could have. I tried it in other ways, and it was just a feeling of freedom that the song could live the way it wanted to live. And you just got to kind of wait. I don't go nuts if there's not if a tune doesn't want to happen. I sort of feel as though it will eventually, even if it takes 40 years. But I can be slow.
Yeah, okay. So, talk a bit about Dire Straits. I mean, an extraordinarily successful band. You didn't want me to give you statistics and tables and everything, but a band that had an enormous impact during the period.
Yeah, what happens is that you become I realised I wasn't, it's the way you think of yourself. I thought of myself before as a bit of a strummer, and I really, as far as guitar, really that's all it is, but the songs, as you become a songwriter, you start to think of yourself as a songwriter slowly as you put a few songs together, and the songs just started pushing a little bit hard. They wanted to find a home. And I was still teaching at the time, and I just thought, well, I've got to try and get a little outfit that can do that. And it was a real stripped down outfit. My brother and John Illsley was living in a flat in southeast England and southeast London in Deptford. And I used to drive down there and where Dave and John were living. I used to drive down from where I was living up more in the northeast of London and drive around, go through the Blackwall Tunnel, get down to Deptford, and started a stripped down little band. And we just put some under, carpet felt in one of the little rooms, and the neighbours there was a block of dead flats where they were. Sue moved in, and they didn't give those flats to proper people. They gave them to musicians and students and so on and so forth, and social workers and that sort of thing. Other depraved, and probably quite a few people from Newcastle as well.
And so what you rehearsed there?
We rehearsed
you remember?
And it was actually funny when I actually met John, who's still a great mate of mine after all these years, is that, one of the things that I perfected with the guitar was falling asleep while playing. And when I got to play with Chet Atkins, he told me that he did the same thing. And it's pretty late at night, and as your fingers are going through you start to nod off, but your fingers keep going, but you start sliding down this way, which is why if you're smart, you station yourself in an armchair or something, but slowly you come off the chair and you end up on the floor with the guitar underneath, and you'll wake up in the morning or some stage with this guitar on top of your chest, and you've actually slid down there, unconscious. And John is 6'3", and when I met him, he was very vertical. He'd been out all night. He came in, and that's how we met. And I was flat. I was horizontal, and John was vertical. That's how it started. But yeah, we just organised our own gigs, and we pretty soon got playing around pubs and clubs, and we made a little demo of some songs, a little 8-track studio, which included Sultans of Swing. We didn't know what to do with them. I suggested that we take them to Charlie Gillett, who had a program called Honky Tonk on Radio London, and we were helping a friend with furniture, in fact, that Sunday, John and I, and they said, didn't you hear the Charlie played Sultans on the radio, and everybody then was what were you doing when? And I'd originally had it, as a one of these sort of open chord things, on a completely different tune. But when I got a Stratocaster, because that's when I got a Strat, coincided with the Strat, and I heard what the Strat sounded like. It just, just the sound of the guitar. I changed, the music came really from the instrument. So when you play, again, bubbling thing was starting to happen because of this rule breaking, because with the thumb on the bottom of the guitar and the fingers at the top, I wasn't enough, so I started breaking the rules and started playing fingers and thumbs on the top, and bottom as well. So it becomes like a kind of banjo playing. So it's bubbling. And getting back to what you're saying, Matthew, about books and crashing into songs, an example just occurred to me where I was reading Mason and Dixon, the Thomas Pynchon book, that I'm sure a lot of you will have read, and I got into it. I worked my way into it, and Mason, of course, was a Geordie, and I thought I liked that these lads from England had all these adventures together. That they'd been to South Africa, and they were now engaged in this, cutting this massive swathe across the wilderness, an attempt to make a boundary, and because I was reading the book, and because I was flying into Philadelphia on a plane, I looked out and could see the conurbation and the whole of the modern, what we've done, this world, these massive liners in the port, and again, this is an example of where something I'm reading crashes into this great job that I have, which is being a songwriter. Are you okay for a bit of Selling to Philadelphia, guy? I'm Jeremiah Dixon, I am a Geordie boy. Glass of wine with you, sir, and the ladies I enjoy. Old Durham and Northumberland is measured up by my own hand. Was my fate from birth, make my mark upon the earth. Calls me Charlie Mason, stargazer am I. Seems that I was born to chart the evening sky. They cut me out for bacon bread, but I had other dreams instead. This baker's boy from the West Country
would join the Royal Society. And we are sailing to Philadelphia, a world away from the cold time. Sailing to Philadelphia to draw the line and lay some Dixon. Yeah, no, I just heard just James Taylor's voice for the other character. So it's really like casting it was a little bit like casting. Yeah, so this is another love object. This is the National Steel guitar. Very vulgar. It's got a canoe with lovers on the back and palm trees. It's a lovely thing. This is what actually National brought me to Wales the first time, because there was one on sale in Exchange of Mark for 85 quid, and I borrowed a car, drove to Wales in the pouring rain, and got my first National. They've gone up in price a little bit since then. And this was again, it was a kind of a blues instrument that I learned a lot of country blues on, and slide playing and everything else, you know. But I was fooling around with it one day, and I came up with this. Playing in Belfast first time we went to Belfast, and I got to the and when the first time you play there, the audience were just absolutely for it, and they were up there and they even put their coats along the front of the stage, and I got up to the I got to the and I got up, stepped up the mic, and this bloke down the front goes, "I love Struck Romeo!" And I couldn't, I mean, I just couldn't. No, I can't sing it now, I've spoiled it for you. No, try a verse. Are you alright, guys? Yeah. Got a 7-8, laying everybody low with a love song that man finds a street light, steps out of the shade, he says something like, "You and me, babe, how about it?" Juliet says, "Say it's Romeo, nearly give me a heart attack." He's underneath the window singing, "Hey, I'm my boyfriend's man. You shouldn't come around here singing up at people like that. Anyway, what you gonna do about it?" Juliet, the dice was loaded from the start, and I bet you exploded in my heart, and I forget. Movie song. When you gonna realize it was just that the time was wrong? Juliet, etc.
But the band was tremendously successful. You were very famous. You found it difficult to cope with fame.
Yeah, I'd recommend being successful to anybody. It gets you freedom, and I've got a great studio that I love to work in now, and I feel incredibly blessed, and it's the best. Being inspired to write songs is the best feeling in the world. I feel tremendously lucky, all that, but if anybody can think of one good thing about fame, I'd be very interested to hear it. It's a byproduct, it seems to me, of a kind of byproduct of that sort of success. I worry about it.
Intrusive.
It is everything that's. I can't think of much that's good about it. Anything that's good about it, really. To tell the truth, except that when it comes to maybe a charitable event that you can lend your shoulder to it and make a difference. Although that has its own, double edge to it too sometimes, because people can always accuse you of wanting the publicity, but still, you can't win them all.
So you don't miss Dire Straits?
No, not at all. I mean, the scale of it was so big, and I had a great time with it. Really loved it. I'm made for the job. I mean, I love to write, I love to rehearse, I love to tour. I don't want to stay at home and watch Wimbledon. I'm happy to be out there on the road. I love the crew, and I love the whole vibe of it. But it just got too big. Got into catering one day and didn't recognise the truck drivers because we were doing a huge big tour. And one of the things that's really nice about touring is you feel like a little family, and the truck drivers particularly, they're all great guys. The road crew are very independent people that they travel all over the world, they eat food from all over the place, they read books, and they are independent, great people, and I value the relationships that I've had with, and incidentally the nucleus of the road crew from the very beginning still has been Welsh, and that's part of it too. But yeah, so no, I mean I was perfectly happy to scale it down, yeah, and get back to being the guy that writes songs, and also like I'm saying, I was writing more folk. I mean, I'm very much folk influenced, and I was writing more things for string bass and more things for accordion. Oh, not another song with I love accordion and sitar and all of those instruments too, and I love the fiddle, and so I find that I'm writing for those kind of instruments a lot of the time too.
Okay, now we've got about 10-12 minutes left, and I sense the audience would prefer you to play during this last rather than listen to me, so off you go.
Well, yes,
You decided what to play.
well, yes, that's right. I'm just trying to remember how to. Now, okay, guys.
What is it?
Well, we'll try. Shall we have a swing at? That is, you know what? I always think when I go to the theatre, an actor should come out at the beginning and say, "We're going to have a swing at Macbeth." Don't you think that? I mean, it is, after all, an attempt. Each time you take one of these things on, dreadful things can happen. Going home. So Sonny Liston was a huge figure in childhood, and I always thought he had the saddest face in the whole world. And he had a terrible upbringing. It's funny when you think that, you know, what happened, when the tragedy hit New Orleans recently, you saw the way a lot of people lived there. Well, this was really, you know, so in the 60s it was even worse, and nothing much has changed. Yeah, so I don't know what got me going on this song for Sonny Liston. Again, it's one of those portrait songs. I'm going to tune it. I think the heat and the excitement has got to it. I'll have to give it to a professional. Yeah, it's a bit hot and bothered. It's one of these people I can't do without, Mr. Glenn Sack. Yeah, so all Sonny seemed to have the saddest face in the world, and everybody thought that he was unbeatable, and of course, as we all know, he was eventually beaten by the god of boxing, was Muhammad Ali, but everybody was frightened of Sonny Liston, and even Ali said that he was the devil, said he was, and in fact I remember one heavyweight saying of him that he said, after I broke Liston's jaw in the whatever round it was, he said, he hit me harder than any man has a right to be hit, and they had to pack me in ice for 5 days. Thanks, Glenn. But what a childhood, what a life. So many mouths to feed on a farm. Sonny was the second to the last one born. His mama ran away and his daddy beat him back. He grew up wild, good love he never had. He had a left like Harry's hammer, a white like Betty Bamalan. Rolled with the mothers in the dark and dread, and all him sluggers went down like lead. Well, he hung with the hoods, he didn't stroke of the fan, but he had dynamite both his hands. Boom, bam, like a slammer dog. The bell and the can and the bodies on the floor. Beware, the bear's in town. Somebody money says the bear's going down. Yeah, bear never smile. Sonny going down 4 miles and miles. Sonny going down miles and miles.
fight came George, with his low life backers in his hands like a rocks. They didn't want to have a bogeyman. They didn't like him and they didn't like them. Black Cadillac, alligator boots, money in the pockets of a sharkskin suit. Some say the bear took the floor. They couldn't believe it when they saw him drop. They left it like Henry's hammer, white like Betty Bangor. Roll with the muggers in the dark and dread, and all them sluggers went down like that. Joe Lewis was his hero, he tried to be the same. Aboard a criminal child with the ball and chain. Civil rights people didn't leave him alone. And the hacks and the cops leave him alone to beware. The bear's in town, somebody said the bear's going down. Yeah, bear never smiled. Sun is going down for miles and miles. Sun is going down miles and miles. At the foot of his bed with his feet on the floor, dope in his veins and a pistol on the drawer. Won't no investigation as such. He hated needles but he knew too much. Crisscrossed on his back, scars from his daddy like slavery tracks. The second last child was the second last king. Never again was it the same in the rain. You had to left it like Henry's hammer, right like Betty Bangor. Roll with the muggers in the dark and dread, and all them sluggers went down like that. Could be sure about the day he was born. A motherless child working on the farm. Nobody could be sure about the day he died. The bear was a king they cast aside. Beware, the bear's in town. Somebody's money says the bear's going down. Yeah, bear never smiles. Sun is going down for miles and miles. Sun is going down for miles and miles.
Gonna play a little bit of rock and roll. I know. Couple of period pieces for you now, but this one's about fast food. I'll go to San Bernardino, rainy day. A milkshake mixes, that's my thing. And these guys have bought a heap of my stuff. So I gotta see a good thing, sure enough now. Oh, my name's not Croc, start with a Q. Like crocodile, not spelled that way. It's doggy dog, red in red. Rockstar, boom like that. Oh, the folks line up on the street. I'm gonna see this girl tonight. And then I get it when just Stephen's name. My father's big as the hell and a big voice. Down, ought to be one of these in every town. These guys have got the touch and clean as a whistle and it don't cost much. Slam bang, you don't wait long, shake, fries, try to get gone. How about a friendly name, every little thing I'm staying the same. Oh, my name's not hard, bumble like crocodile, and I'm scumbag. It's doggy dog, really red. Doggy dog, really red. It's doggy dog, really red. Rockstar, boom like that. You're gonna need a helping hand. Gentlemen, well, how about me? Make a little fast food history. Oh, my name's not Croc, I'm the ring. Like crocodile, and I'm spelled that. 'Cause it's doggy dog, ready, ready. Doggy dog.
After 2000 came 2001. To be a new champions, we were there for to run. From springtime and Arizona to the fall of Monterey. The whistles were the battlefields of fall of Monterey. To Phoenix in the morning, early we go. Swing around without a warning, put me alone. Patrol Long Beach, California, with 3 crack burgers. Whistles were the battlefields of fall of Monterey. Well, the brickyard's nearly 85. Anyone who will come through. When I climbed a mountain to qualify, went flying through the turn. When I was down in the minor bins and no cloud could decide. Sitting down in gasoline early in the Well, we were in that Killigan on the Milwaukee Run. And in June up in Michigan, we were on that battle line. It was on the Baldwin River for the GI Joe. Blown up almost everyone when the border let go. We went Ontario, he died in the Those was from it all out to Toronto, came on down there where we burned up that building. Speedway in Nazareth, they go So a long time ago, come a man on a track, walking 30 miles with a sack on his back. Put down his load where he thought it was the best, made a home in the wilderness. Built a cabin and a winter store, and he plowed the ground by the cold lake shore. The other travelers came walking down the track. They never went further, no, they never went back. The church came to schools, and then came the lawyers, then came the rules, then came the train, and the trucks went that old, the dirty old track. What's the telegraph for? Can the mines yet came the young, and there was a hard time, and there was a war. Telegraph sang a song about the world outside. Telegraph phone was so deep, so wide. My radio says tonight is gonna freeze. People driving home from the factories. Now you've got 6 lanes of traffic, 3 lanes moving slow. too late to go. They shut the door. I'm gonna wait to go to work. No work here to be found here in the city. We're gonna have to pay what's home. We're gonna have to reap from a seed that God's sown. All the birds up on the wire, up on the poles, they can always read out in this radio phone. You can hear them singing out the telegraph pole on the way. Out the telegraph pole. I'd sooner forget, but I remember nights. Life was just a bet and a race. Between the lights, you had your head on my shoulder, had your hand in my hair. I acted a little cold and like you don't see me. Wanna get you away for mine the stars and the TV. All these rivers and lights, these rivers of rain. For the other lives on the streets with these days. What if we realize memory now? Some desperation is broken into flame. I don't wanna see it all. All these signs just saying, son, we're closed. All the way. Down the telegraph pole. in this common man. Home is always and always will be. Someday you'll return to your letters and your fun, and you'll no longer burn to the ground. Through these fields of destruction, baptisms of fire, I witness your suffering as the battle rages on. And though they did hurt me so bad, I feel alone. You didn't deserve me, you know. There's so many different roads, so many different songs. We have just one world, but we live in different worlds. Now the sun's gone to hell, moon's riding high. Let me bid you farewell. Every night is still what is written in the starlight. Fools to make war on our brothers and all. burn a good minded old man cold. Looking down, oh my God, I'm sticking in the cavalry. Yes, 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 you're determinedly on. What's that now? Oh, why you know it's right on them Mongols like a Japan. That isn't working, that's the way you do it. One head for nothing and you choose for one. Nothing that's gone microwave. Nothing can ever end. We so far away from me. Where are you when the sun goes down? So far away from me. So far away from me. So far I just can't see. So far away from me. You're so far away. Oh, Thank you.